channel. A couple of weeks ago we put a video out there showcasing 5 cars that you should try in Automobilista 2. And today it's the turn of the tracks, so we're going to have a look at 5 tracks that if you haven't tried yet you really should give a go because they are well worth checking out. Of course, obviously Automobilista 2 has a lot of well-known tracks such as Silverstone, Interlagos, Dorrington Park, Spa-Francorchamps now as well, but there's some other tracks in there which really are worth a drive. So let's take a look at number 1 right now. So here we go, the first track on our list is this one, Cascavel in Brazil. We're in the sprint race car, which is a little central driving positions monocoque type car. And this circuit at Cascavel is a real driver's circuit. There's quite a lot to it, even though it's only a short lap. It's only 1 minute 10 in this little sprint race car. But there's a lot to learn on here, it's very technical. And one of the great things that we love about Automobilista 2 is the fact that it brings to the table more than just your standard content that you would expect to find in any sim racing title out there. Not just in cars as we discovered, but also with the tracks as well. Now, there are some more mainstream circuits out there for Automobilista 2, such as Imola, the Nordschleife, which was added recently as well. But there are some other tracks in the game which aren't quite as well known. However, they are definitely worth your time, and this is one of them. So we're going to go for a lap around here, and I'll talk you through the lap and why I like this track so much. So coming to the final corner right here now. Get ourselves slowed down nicely. So here we go, coming up to the line now. So the first corner, it drops downhill. There's a downhill sweeping left, which then comes back uphill on the exit. So it's a long corner. So you kind of brake at the last board here, down a couple of gears, keep it mid-track, wait for the corner to come back to you, and then feed the power in and get this final apex here, which then fires you around the other side and up the hill. Really, really difficult to get right, but very rewarding. This next corner I absolutely love. You just kind of chuck it in here, and then you instantly get in the car, slow down for the right-hander, or not quite slow down as I did there. And you back hard on the power for this kind of mid-straight section here. There's a little kink in here, but that doesn't really require you to slow down anyway. So hard on the brakes at the 50 board here. This corner tightens up at the end a little bit, so it's very easy to run off onto the right. And then this next corner is super important because it leads onto the long back straight. A little bit wide running off there. Chance to have a bit of a breather, and then we're back up to this final corner once again. Look for our mark on the right. Down a couple of gears, get it tucked in. It's a really quick final corner. It's easy to run off just like that, so you've really got to be accurate with your brake turning points and your throttle application through there as well. So why do we love Cascavel so much? Well, it just has such a great flow and rhythm to it. I mean, there's enough corners to keep it interesting. In that corner you never really take the same line through it every single time. It's difficult to get it spot on every lap, so it makes it a real challenge. But when you just chuck the car into here, the car drops away, you feel it load up on the force feedback, and then you tuck the car in tight and get back on the power. When you get that right, it's just so good. It's just so fun. These next 2 corners are a little tricky to get right as well, but they're kind of corners you really just have to get yourself through neatly. It's always a bit deceptive how much speed you can take through here. You think you can take a lot more than you can, but yeah, it's very easy to get wrong. And this last corner, it's very similar actually to a lot of Brazilian tracks in-game, which we'll find out later on, of course. They seem to have quite a quick final corner. Again, massive understeer, which just pushed me out wide there, but it's so good. I mean, racing around here is good fun as well, so it's not just for driving in a time trial situation. So yeah, again, we're mid-track, looking at late apex. Just nail the throttle all the way out of there. Yeah, it's fantastic. And when the weather rolls in as well, you get some interesting puddles forming in some of these dips, which makes it quite tricky to drive. But that's where you really find out how good a driver you are in the wet. But Cascavel, definitely worth a try, and number 1 on our list. What about number 2? Okay, so next up is this one, which is down as Ibara. Now, I'm not going to say the actual name of the circuit because I don't want to get it wrong, but this one's on our list for a couple of reasons. One is, look at this. Just look how good that looks. the scenery around this circuit is absolutely fantastic. It's located in Ecuador, and it's in the rolling hillsides by the looks of things here. And we're in the F3 car for this particular circuit because there's some very quick and demanding corners, especially in a wings and slicks single-seater like this. But again, this circuit has a great flow to it. And it's not just good in the Formula 3 car, it's good in pretty much anything you throw at it, really. So we'll go for a full-on lap around here and I'll talk you around it. But again, just the way this circuit looks, I mean, I got it on the early morning lighting, which obviously makes it look even more spectacular. But again, this section here, you've got a big lake to the left, mountains off in the distance. It just looks so spectacular. It looks amazing. Very quick final section here. Right, let's go for a lap of Ibara. They just released the reverse version of this one as well, so you can drive it in reverse if you wanted to. But this way is a really good direction. So up and over the line, heading off towards the hillside. We have a couple of very fast, flat-out rights. Kind of drops away on the apex and the turning point. This one again sucks you in with a camber, spits you out on the other side. And this one is really quite a tricky corner. You've got to drop it down a couple of gears, leave it out to the left a little bit, late apex, around this little kink here. Hard on the brakes to tip it into this right-hander. And it starts to tighten up a little bit through here. Camber change on the exit. This corner is really tricky because it's hard to spot where to turn in. Speed builds all the way through these next two right-handers. Little lift just to make sure it's all planted. Fast left-hander here. If you don't get it quite right and carry too much speed, there's a nice little ramp to catch you on the exit there. You go for a trip into the marshal's cars. And this last section here is this really fast chicane, which in this car you just take flat out and then just brake right afterwards. Ready for this tight final corner here. It's just so good. It's such a cool track. Again, it's one of those tracks where you get a really good rhythm driving around here, and that's what makes a track so enjoyable. If it's all stop-start, it just never really gets going. So this is a nice rhythm to kind of get you feeling the track and just driving by nature, I suppose, almost. It's just so much more enjoyable. So again, here's that really tricky right hand. You just kind of wait, and the corner comes back to you. Gentle with the power on the exit out of there. It's easy to spin on the rear wheels. Another corner, which is very difficult to kind of gauge how quickly you can take it there. Ooh, too much curve on the inside then. Flat this time through there. Just dropping the gear just to give you a bit of confidence. Back end's trying to come round. It's so good. You kind of have to hold on a little bit through the midfield section of the lap. So good. I mean, it's very basic facilities, obviously, but this is really all about the driving experience and just the general atmosphere of the circuit, which looks fantastic. You know, you've got grandstands, natural bankings all around the circuit, lots of trees, lots of nice detail with the lighting. It all just looks so good. Now this list of tracks is not in order, so we're not saying that Cascavel's better than this one, because we love them all. But what else is a fantastic track that you should try in Automobilista too? Okay, so the next circuit on the list is this one, Santa Cruz do Sul. We're back in Brazil. We're in the MCR 2000 sports prototype car. It's a P4 category car, so it's the slowest category for prototype cars on the sim. But this circuit has very much a club circuit feel to it. It's a little bit narrow, but it has plenty of character to it, which makes for a really entertaining drive. Plenty of corners which can really catch out the balance of a car as well, so you've got to be careful for those. But this circuit's a little bit slower than the other two that we've had so far. So you've really got to be a little bit more precise with it, which I'm not doing right now, but we'll neaten that up and we'll have a proper go around the circuit in a moment. So big curves, and this last section of the lap's quite flowing. You've got a series of left, right, lefts, which entice you to go really quickly around them, but have a limit of how fast you can go because they'll just run you out onto the grass. So coming into the last corner now. Such a challenging little corner, this one. Again, very similar to the last corner on Cascavel. It has a fair bit of pace to it as well. So here we go, over the line, down to the turn one now. This corner comes up at you really quickly. So you have to be on the brakes fairly early, get the car slowed down. The car drops away on the apex of the corner. And then you have this really fast left-right chicane which drops off the hill. There's plenty of curve through there, it's flat out. And you're down a little right-handed kink into this long left-hander which is almost 180 degrees. Gotta wait. It's almost like a Luffield from Silverstone, but the opposite direction and uphill, so yeah, nothing really like Luffield at Silverstone, but similar kind of principle. Down the brakes for this left-hander into this right. This is a tight little midfield section here. Speed builds through this next one, but can't take it flat out completely. And we're back into this series of sweeping bends. Keep patient on the throttle through here. Wait for the curve to start on the left before you can really start applying a little bit more power. This next one tightens up again. Back on the power. Build your speed up for this last corner here, chuck it in, and then flat out back over the line. So it's a lot more full on than maybe the other courses were, but it's so good. Being a bit tighter, it's a little bit harder for racing purposes, but there are corners where you can make a move. It's just going through there, you just really feel the force feedback load up as you go over the crests and over the curbs. As the back end starts to try and break away through some of these corners, you really feel it. It's just dropping off the bigger curbs. Big jolt in the hands. It's the apex for that one. But I really do enjoy driving this circuit. It's quite good for some of the lower powered cars, those like the Fiat Uno or the other saloon cars that are in Automobilista 2. This was part of the Brazilian Stock Car Series calendar for a while. I don't think it is currently, but they're equally as good fun to drive around here. Probably wouldn't suggest bringing a Formula 1 car around here. It's probably not the place for it, but for some of the other vehicles on Automobilista 2, it's well worth a visit, that's for sure. What else? What else can we find in Automobilista 2 that we like? Okay, so track number 4 on our list is this one, Guapore. Now this particular track is a lot more flowing than the previous one. It's a lot wider, but it's also got a lot of banked corners. Now this particular corner, I'm sure there's a video somewhere on the internet of a Formula truck going straight off into the trees over the back of that corner, as I completely missed the corner. So we're going to try and not do that if we can avoid it in this video. But this circuit, in this car, the Caterham Superlight, is a really good combo for smiles per mile because it's very inviting to take a lot of speed through these corners, but because they're banked you can really attack them, and that means you can put a lot of power on and the back end just comes around. As soon as you exit the corner and the camber starts to wear off the road, the back end starts to go light, and then you get a lot of oversteer action, and it's just amazing fun. So we'll get round to the start of the lap again, and we'll go for a complete walkthrough of the lap. This car around here is a great combo. So last corner here now. Okay, so up and over the line, we've got our pit straight here, pit complex on the left, some grandstands on the right hand side. Good long straight, plenty slipstream battles to be had down here, especially in lower powered cars. Braking just after the 100-metre board, down a few gears. It's a bank corner, so get the car tucked in on the apex. You can really apply the power quite early on through there. You're straight into another banked corner, this time a right-hander. There we go, the back end tries to come around on us again. And we're far down towards another hairpin corner, this time braking just after the 50 board. Down a couple of gears, wait for the apex of the corner, put the power on. Let's find the car on the exit. Now this next corner is still banked, but it's flat out in this particular car, which is quite a thrill. Let it run out to the left hand side. And on this last section here, I love this particular corner because once you get through it, there's a little crest in the road just on the exit, which makes the back end of the car go light, which usually in rear-wheel drive cars makes for some oversteer action. And the final corner here now, apply some power and a big old power slide just to finish the lap off. So it's just so much fun. If you're into just having a good laugh on track, this track is really for you. Just take something out like a Caterham or something with quite a lot of power, rear-wheel drive, just go for a slide around. It's so rewarding. It's good for teaching you throttle control as well, because the corners are quite long, so you get an opportunity to pitch the car in and pick your throttle application point and then just drive the car out of the corner. That was a little bit scruffy back there, but it does teach you how to be patient with the throttle rather than just getting straight in there and just mashing it down to the floor. It's just so fun. And this track is not one of the, it's not one of those really big, well-known tracks with lots of heritage and big championships going there all the time. But that's part of the charm of Automobilista 2 for me, in that it showcases some of these lesser-known circuits which quite rightly deserve laps being turned on them. But this car and track combo, it's just amazing. You should try it out. So that just leaves us with one track left. I wonder which one that'll be. This is it. We're at Londrina. This is the Londrina Long circuit specifically. We're in the Ultima race spec car, so we have a big V8 behind us and a funny shaped steering wheel to deal with. But nevertheless, this circuit is going to be a real test in this car. Now, it may not be quite as obscure as some of the other circuits which we have covered, but nevertheless, it's not going to be on everyone's go-to list of tracks that they're going to try out first in Automobilista 2. So for that alone, that's why it is on our list of tracks that you should try. And we'll get into more of the details of why you should try this track, that corner being one of them, in just a moment. But this car is going to be so fun around here to drive. Again, it's used on the Brazilian stock car calendar, so this is a mainstay of the Brazilian series. And it's easy to see why. So penultimate corner here, let's get ourselves through to the last corner here, which is this little uphill right. Feed the power in and away we go. So up and over the line, a bit complex on the right hand side here. The first corner here at Londrina is particularly tricky, especially on this long version. It's very, very long, but you also need to get on the brakes quite early and turn at the same time, because as soon as you're around this right-hander, you have a left-hander to deal with right here. Get the car tucked in, keep the car over to the left hand side ready for this right hander that comes up on you very, very quickly. Big armful of opposite lock on the exit there. Uphill this next hairpin here, and again it's going to encourage the back end to break away on the power, and then this downhill chicane is a real pinch. Just chuck it in over that curb, the car takes off and you're off down this middle straight section here. Well, the fun doesn't end there, because this next left-hander, again, you take a lot of speed through here, but you're on the brakes all the way through, because got another corner straight after him, which you have to tuck the front end into. Very easy to run off the side of the circuit there, and then into this final 2 corner section here, which is a lot slower than some of the other parts of the lap, but very, very tricky to get right. You have to hug the inside around there just to use the camber. But my word, does this track put a big smile on your face as well. It's just so challenging. There's so many corners which you really do need to try and maximise and just carry speed through, which is very difficult in some cases, especially in a car like this. This corner here, again, very, very tricky, especially with trying to get the power down out of here. It's just, where do you put the throttle down? No! So let's try that again, this time without actually crashing. Bit of a dab of brakes on the top of the hill, flick it in, and that's better through there this time. Now, where were we before I was rudely interrupted by my own poor driving? But this corner coming up here, again, super challenging. Getting it right is very, very tricky indeed. As you can see, as I run on just a little bit deep into there. But when you do string all these corners together and they go as you want them to, the track itself really does come alive, and it's very rewarding to drive. In all different types of car, not just the Ultimate, but in the stock cars, in the single-seaters. Again, not a circuit for high-powered F1 cars, but if you fancy a challenge, maybe it might be worth a go. But it really is a whole heap of fun driving around here. But if you have a circuit that we haven't featured in this video, please do let us know in the comments which one it is, because we'd love to know your favourite circuits. And because we haven't featured it in this video doesn't mean we don't like it. We do love all the tracks in Automobilista 2. But these are just some of the tracks that we wanted to highlight just because of the way they drive and why we like them so much. But it's well worth exploring some of the lesser known circuits within AMS2. So let us know your favourites. Let us know what car you like to drive around them as well. We'd love to hear from you. But if you've enjoyed this video, please do consider walloping that like button. It'll mean a lot to know that you guys like the content that we put out. And if you do like the content we put out, consider subscribing to the channel. It's free to do, and there'll be more videos coming along in the near future as well. But until then, we will see you very soon.